G'day, that's Slot Car Guy here. So today we're going to head to Mr. Slot Car here in Melbourne, Australia, located in Hallam. I've packed some cars, I've got the slot box, the Volvo C70 turbos ready to rock and roll. So let's jump in a car and go to a road trip and visit Mr. Slot Car here in Melbourne, Australia. So let's go on a road trip to Mr. Slot Car located in Hallam, Melbourne, Australia. Well worth the 50-minute drive for me. And luckily for me, I do live in regional Vic, so majority of the drive was country views. Now, I did want to share the drive with you because I do get a lot of questions. What's it like in Australia? What's the roads like? So I've got some snippets of the drive in. And we do take a main freeway in, which we are seeing now. This is the Monash Freeway, best known as the Monash Car Park, but locals will know what I mean by that. I was hoping to share some local animals, koalas, kangaroos, echidnas or wombats, but luckily for me, nothing jumped out in front. And I was trying to do some car spotting to show off some locally made cars, which we no longer make, but unfortunately I only saw one. So here is the exit. We're getting off the Monash. We're almost there now. And we are here. I was excited, I was nervous. I haven't been here since the start of COVID. I couldn't wait to get inside. So let's find a car spot. Let's go inside and let's do a full tour, Mr. Slot Car. So we made it to Mr. Slot Car here in Hallam, and there it is right behind me. I'm very excited to go inside. So let's check out the tracks that you can race on. Let's check out some of the stock. I know this place is stocked to the brim, and we'll go upstairs and check out the incredible 4-lane drag setup. So let's go in and have a quick walkthrough at Mr. Slot Car. So let's take a tour of Mr. Slot Car located in Melbourne, Australia, in the suburb of Hallam. This is my local slot car centre. And I don't think you're going to be disappointed because this place is incredible. So as soon as I walked in, my eye was drawn to this Mr. Tracks hybrid setup. Multiple tables. This thing is huge, but later on in the video, we will have a closer look at it and I'll explain what the drop-ins are and is it digital or is it analog. But I had to walk up to it and have a quick look at it before we continued on the tour. But let's move on to the club track and we'll come back to this later. And here is the beast that I normally race on, the 6-lane, built by Mr. Tracks or Mr. Slot Car here in Melbourne, Australia. It's a 6-lane club track, huge footprint, but a very smart use of space. And you can probably see some scenery scattered around, and some of those are magnetic racing scenery. So let's take off in lane 1 down the front straight past the 6 controller ports. This is a massive 6-lane wood routed track, and we do use this for club racing, but this is another angle of the beast that I normally race on. Very technical, very fast, a really, really cool track made by Mr. Slot Car. Now let's go upstairs, and you might see the pictures in the background of those steps. That's some Aussie V8 supercars. Really cool to see, but what is up here is going to blow your mind. We've got another massive slot car track and a really cool drag setup. So let's take a look upstairs, and you can hear some action going on downstairs, but take a look at this monster. 8-lane wood routed analog track. This thing is epic. Sees a lot of racing down here, which is a really, really good track for beginners and intermediate. As you can see, some really long straights, some nice big corners, but what a beautiful track. But let's go have a look where some of the magic happens. And here we have some Mr. Tracks being built. Very popular system here in Australia, all ready for their happy customers. But look at this monster. Absolutely huge. And now we get to the pit box area. Plenty of room. Bring your cars, your pit box, ready for some action, but take a look at this 4-lane monster. You like drag racing? Well, here you go. Look at that. But let's go down the start and take a look at the starting of the drag track. Oh, and the man's turned the lights on. Timing's crucial. And we've got the Christmas trees going. Look at this. 4 lanes, 1, 2, 3 and 4. How long is that, Pete?
quarter miles, 55 feet.
55.
You've got 2 feet of burnout section and around about 15 feet of shutdown area.
And that's from the legend himself. 50. Jesus. Beautiful. But let's take a quick zoom down in lane 1. Let's go. And that is the length of this monster, and it is 4 lanes. Boy, this is a big thing. So let's take a close look at the pit area for both the drag racing and the club track. And in the far back, you can see there's some more because Pete does host some big events here. And I think the next big event will be a drag racing event held in August. And the most important building, the race scrutineers building. The man himself ready to watch the racing and call the shots. But let's have a quick look at his little museum set up over here. You know, I love the vintage and old school stuff, but look at this. Some Scalextric items. There's a bit of glare there, sorry. But what a beautiful collection. I'm guessing there's going to be more at home. And let's look at some beautiful old kits. Really, really nice. So before we head back down, I wanted to show you the view from the mezzanine and take a look at that for a view. The Mrsoltcar's hybrid setup is ginormous. So let's head back down to the ground floor. We'll take a close look at the Mrsoltcar's hybrid table setup and also what stock he has on hand, because this place has honestly got it all. So here we have one of Mrsoltcar's hybrid system. Now this table or tables is massive, but take a look at the Carrera digital changeovers, and yes, you can order one of these for yourself and made here in Melbourne, Australia. And of course using Carrera drop-ins for the crossovers, so quality stuff. But what a beautiful track, and it is massive. Look at that. But check out the website because there's other configurations, but there is definitely something for everyone. It's very, very cool because it's made here in Melbourne, Australia. And there you go, Mrsoltcar's hybrid. Beautiful. And located on the ground floor is Deb's Pit Stop. Hot coffee, hot food, what more do you want when you go slot car racing? But now let's move on to some slot cars. This is the Carrera and Scalextric display case. Let's start off with some Scalextric and I'll let you enjoy the stock on hand. Now we're moving on to the Carrera side of the display case. So let's take a look at the Carrera stock on hand. The black boxes are Evolution, so non-digital, and the blue boxes are the digital 132 cars, and both windows are stocked with 132 Carrera slot cars. So enjoy the Carrera stock on hand. And in the background on the shelves, you'll see a heap of Carrera accessories and track add-ons and some Evolution and digital Carrera sale cars. Really, really cool to see cars on sale. So it's worth popping in from time to time to see what specials you might find. So moving on to some other brands, a pair of Wampies, some Polycar monopostos on display front and center, looking very, very cool. Some Scale Auto white kits, down to some Pioneer white kits. I'm a huge fan of Pioneer, and of course I love these Legend Series. Highly recommend the Pioneer Legend Series, and some more Pioneer goodies, and a Soulfly Golf Porsche. Moving on to some Revo slot. Beautiful colours there, nicely lined up, down to some really good slotted cars on hand. Love that Jaeger Alpha, and some white kits. Some more Revo slot. And again, I think we are sport for choice. He gets a lot of the goods in. So moving on to some slotted universal chassis. We've got some Thunder slot, some sideways, scale auto, down to the NSR, and some more incredible sideways. But take a look at the stock of NSRs on hand. Now, I'm a huge NSR fan. If you haven't got one, grab one because these perform beautifully out of box. Of course, a favourite of mine, BRM 124 scale, and a lot of tools. I didn't film them all, but he's got a lot of tools on hand, parts, pieces, and accessories, and some BRM white kits. And it's always good visiting Mrsoltcar because he has some unique items on display, and these JK products are really, really cool. We've got some open wheelers and some touring cars. Now, I haven't got a JK product car in my collection. I think one of those open wheelers will come home with me next time. So let's move on to the accessory wall. We have some paint Carrera figures, which again are becoming quite hard to find in store. So really good to see a good range. Some Carrera Go 143 cars. A fair bit of slotted accessories. So if you do need any slotted parts and pieces, check out Mrsoltcar. And moving on to an Australian made tyre, the MJKs. Full wall of MJKs. Again, if you haven't tried MJKs, check it out, Australian made. And of course, we've got parts, pieces, chassis, you name it. So let's move on to one of my favorite display windows. I love drag racing. I don't do any drag racing, and I will be in the future, but take a look at all the stock. Pre-made cars, chassis, tires, and having a 4-lane drag setup, it just goes hand in hand to have all of these accessories. I did say tires. Take a look at all of those. So let's move over to some more Carrera items, but underneath is your scratch builder's dream. We have some 124 plastic kits. A majority of these are hand chosen, so you can build these kits and race them in a club league that is hosted at Mrsoltcar. So you don't have to guess, can I use this car in a race league? Some of those you could. And down to some remote control cars down the bottom. Oh, and some beautiful pit boxes. Now, I'm a huge pit box fan, so I had to open this little sucker up to have a look, but it is pretty cool. Like I said, everything you want is here. Now let's talk Carrera. Now, I was blown away by the amount of Carrera kits. So there's some Evolution, got some digital. Incredible to see this amount of stock. And of course, the digital stuff is getting hard to find. Chip shortages. So if you do want some digital stock, please visit Mrsoltcar because I was blown away by this wall of selection. Triple packs. Of course, I'm a Porsche fan. Really cool to see, and some Evolution. So last up, we have some light-hearted racing on the final club track at Mrsoltcar. Another 8-lane monster. This is more of the beginner's track, but I was lucky enough to be filming, and this incredible group did hire the track for an hour, and they were nice enough to let me film some racing. And I did take a step back and just smile the whole time because this is the essence of our hobby. It wasn't serious. They were having a blast, pulling the trigger, and like I said, I couldn't wipe the smile off my face. So it was really cool to see some racing. And again, a complete fluke. I was expecting no one to be there because it was early in the morning. But it just goes to show that anyone can race slot cars any time of the day. But this was quite fun to film. So sit back and enjoy some light-hearted slot car racing. So there we go, my time at Mrsoltcar has come to an end. I hope you enjoyed my quick walkthrough of this incredible place, and it's one of the last slot car centres in Melbourne, Australia. Look forward to seeing some more videos from me down here. I will try and film some of the club racing. They race drags here, or drag cars, 124 scale, 132 scale, and of course those incredible tracks. I'll try and get some cars and do some reviews around those. So thanks for watching. Thank you, Pete, for letting me come. Please support Mrsoltcar by visiting his website. It's an incredible website. website. And if you are in Melbourne, Australia, if you are visiting Australia, please pop into the centre and have a race yourself, and you might even see me down here. But as always, at That Slot Car Guy on Instagram and YouTube. Be safe, support Mr. Slot Car, support your local. Ciao.
Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side.